This is Ben Franklin Intermediate School, otherwise known as Junior High, in Daly City, California. Young people have been going to this school here for decades, as you might discern from the retro architecture. For new seventh graders, even 50 years ago, the junior high environment was quite a bit different than what they were used to in the grade schools where they had spent kindergarten through sixth grade. Here at Ben, there seemed to be a lot more students, large students. Showers were mandatory, and one had to learn how to avoid a minefield of aggressive school bullies. However, there was a lot of extracurricular activities, and students who took part could begin to find areas of interest which could carry on to high school and beyond. Some students, such as myself, amazingly enough, even had a senior faculty member take a very special interest in them. In my case, he provided free one-on-one after-school discussions and homework help, alone and undisturbed in a private office with a closed door and dark covered windows. If something of an illegal sexual nature happened to you at Ben Franklin or any other California school or organization, there is a law stating that you can sue for damages no matter how long ago you were sexually assaulted. The time to file suit under the California Child Victims Act, AB 218, ends soon, December 31st, 2022. If you do a brief search online, you will find a number of law firms interested in hearing your story. There's just one thing you should know, which they are not likely to advertise. After you've told them things you've barely told anyone in any detail before, they may reject your case based on not whether or not you were molested or even how many times, but whether the emotional distress you suffered and are still suffering is worth a lot of money in a liability settlement or not. If not, that's it, and you go back to remembering that worthless, abandoned feeling and continue on in the knowledge that a monster got away with sex crimes against children. Of course, if you are independently wealthy, you can sue the school district on your own. Lawyers are standing by. Most victims cannot put up the money to sue, so at this point it's fair to say most will never receive a settlement, and their private torture will never be officially acknowledged by the district or the organization charged with their safety when they were just poor, innocent kids who didn't even have a clue what a pedophile was or why that worthless pig could not stop grinning. Well, I guess he knew the cops had not wired the office, his inner sanctum of cruel and dirty secrets. Why would they? If they held him for anything, it was only in the highest esteem as one of the most important people at work in the city, almost like the chief of police or the mayor. I was just some dumb kid, and we didn't talk about those things. No, the cops were not going to swoop in, save me, and arrest him. Fortunately, I wasn't murdered. I graduated from Ben Franklin and got the hell out of there. So despite the good intentions of the law, many of you, like me, are just going to have to go on periodically mentally hemorrhaging, just as you have since the first shocking, frightening, infuriating day your sexual assault began. You know, 1994 was one of those years long after the abuse that I was mentally hemorrhaging, and I made this sculpture called Trapped in Tower. It depicts yours truly, confined, helpless, skin peeled, enraged, hammered, shocked, and with pins in my head. I should not have been going through the pain of it at that time because 1994 was a year in my life better than most. The year before, my beloved wife and I had bought a home for our family, which I was busily fixing up. I was working. We took the kids on outings, kept them fed, clothed, and loved. I was making art with gallery representation. It was a year before my life would change drastically by an injury, and 3 years before my wife got cancer and died. So, no, my thoughts should not have been intruded upon by what happened to me when I was in 8th grade, because most of the time one just can't think about it. But here's what I have to say between me and anyone else that a faculty member abused. I know the sexual assault you endured was bad, and you deserve compensation. Those awful things happened and are a part of your history. It's so difficult to even talk about it with a lawyer or go over one's life with a psychiatrist. We can't even think of all the things we could say while maintaining composure and trying to answer all the questions during an interview about how our lives turned out, which of course is going to include many more hardships and tragedies since long ago junior high. Hasn't everyone's? The good news is not whether we are technically doing well or whether others get formally acknowledged and compensated. Of course, I'm glad for them. The good news is that most of the old bastards who molested Daly City children in the 1960s, 70s, and 80s are dead now. That's one less sexual predator in the world. Hopefully, schools are doing a better job in the present, making sure pedophiles do not have the opportunities they once had. And that goes for the schools in the Jefferson School District in the often fog-bound Daly City. Thank you for listening and watching this video.